What's up, everybody? Coach Garrett here at the SixPack Abs Lab, the gym where all the games go down. Wrapping up 2020. Hopefully we're hitting the ground running 2021. For those of that stay consistent, great job through one of the toughest years. 2021 though, new year, new you. I'm gonna go over 3 different types of shoulder workouts that I see, a lot of people not really understanding how to do correctly, and obviously activate the anterior, the medial, and the posterior delt. And in my opinion, the rear delt, posterior delt, one of the hardest because so many other things can overcompensate, including your upper traps, which a majority of us are already tight in that area as it is. So let's work our way from the front to the back. We'll start with the front delt. I'm gonna grab these 2 dumbbells. Now, whenever you're doing like a dumbbell raise, first thing you wanna do, anything kind of standing, is have an athletic stance. Like, don't lock your legs out because you're gonna be more prone to swing your hips. So when you're doing that, I want you to slightly bend your arm into a fixed position, and you can let your hand come all the way to the, kind of right at the top of the dumbbell, and almost relax your grip. That will allow you to isolate your anterior delt a little bit more. So when you do this, slight fixed position, chest up, kind of shoulders down and back, and you're just gonna control the negative. You're gonna just kind of point slightly at the top to where you're going, and that's gonna isolate this front delt. Now remember, the athletic stance will prevent swinging. Now if you have to swing the weight, obviously regress, right? Let's not be the ego lifter in the gym. And here's a big miscommon cue. I see a lot of bend. A lot of bend is gonna work the bicep and the brachioradialis, your forearm. We're not really trying to beat up the forearms. That way you can hold the top of the dumbbell up here, and you can almost relax the grip, and you'll isolate the medial head of the delt slightly more right here. So you're just gonna focus on those. Now remember, videos I've done before, back to when you're lowering the dumbbell, that's obviously one of the most important parts of any exercise. That's the eccentric part of the exercise. That's the lengthening of the muscle. You obviously wanna control that, because if the weight starts coming down fast, especially like squats, bench press, curls, certain things like that, you can obviously increase your risk of getting injured drastically. So remember that. We'll go over it real quick. Bend the knees, chest up, shoulders down and back. Control the negative. Get that hand right up to underneath the dumbbell. Slow on the negative. Now, if you do want to go palms down and come up this way, great. A little bit harder, but now you're going to start shifting the weight from the anterior delt and start working a little bit of both, anterior and medial head of the delt. You're still going to obviously work front deltoid, but it'll start working outside of the delt as well. So from there, now we'll go lateral raises. Now this one, I see so many people doing wrong. And I'll stand from the side. I see so many people going directly out, straight out to the side. Now, why not go directly to 9 and 3? If you're gonna come directly out, will you work your medial head of your delt? Yes. Now, but will you elevate your scapula and shrug and get a lot of your traps? Absolutely. You want big cap in the medial head of the delt, not a lot of upper trap going on. It's gonna make your shoulders look more narrow, and it's gonna create a lot of adhesions in your upper trap. So from the side, if I'm standing here, I want to basically, again, bend my knees, pull my belly button in. I wanna kind of keep my arms in that same fixed position, and instead of coming directly out, I slightly wanna come in front of me. But the key here is try to kind of have a loose grip, still hold on to the weights, and I want you to lift through your elbow. Right there is as high as you really need to go. Remember, lift through the elbow, control the negative. Now, if you have to use a little momentum, great, but don't get to where you're doing that. You're swinging the gym, the weights in the gym. Please don't be that guy or girl. You look silly. You're never gonna get real progress. If you have to regress, please do. Relax your wrist, slow on the negative. You notice I'm bringing it slightly in front of me to isolate the medial head of the delt. Now, for some reason, if I want to work my upper traps, then I'm coming directly out. And I'll show you from the side, from the back. You don't really see my neck getting too involved. Now watch it here. You see how my traps and my scapula elevate, and all I do is get a lot of my upper neck, and I miss the cap and the shoulder, which most of us would rather work. We want healthy, rounded, beautiful shoulders instead of tight knots, adhesions inside the upper trap. Last but not least, posterior delt. And in my opinion, one of the hardest muscles to activate because so many things overcompensate. So we're gonna wind it all the way back down to more of a kind of a beginner. And most people will be like, Garrett, I know what you're doing. I've done external rotation before in the gym. I've done stuff like that, but have you done it right? And have you done it to where you're actually activating your posterior delt and not letting your obliques, your hips, or in this case, your upper traps getting you a gain? So what I like to do this where I like to lean into one leg, because if I'm standing too tall, I'm more prone to cheat and let other things compensate. I just want to activate this back shoulder. So I'll lean into one leg. Now I'm not trying to internally rotate to work my pec or my bicep, which is fine if you need to get a little momentum to open. But when you do this exercise right here, I want you to focus on right at the top, push that elbow forward slightly. When you push that elbow forward slightly, I can't rotate anymore. What that does is cause my scapula to come down. That's it. You will feel this back posterior delt, which runs here and connects right here. You will feel that light up. Here's where most people go wrong. They won't push the elbow forward and they'll just kind of rotate and let the whole body kind of take over. Well, guess what else is taking over if you're not lifting your chest and pulling your scapula down and in? You got it, your upper traps. How many times in this video have you heard me talk about upper traps? Shoulders is very common to let the upper traps take over. How many people have had the same issue? We've all had it, right? At the end of the day, we're like, man, a great shoulder workout, but my neck is on fire. And it's a hard area to get back to really stretch and break those knots up. So here we go. Again, chest up, bend the knees, athletic stance. Remember, we never want to stand locked out. Always upper, when you're standing, doing standing free weights or lifting, you always want to be athletic stance. You're basically going to start it at kind of directly parallel to you and obviously get to where you can rotate out if it's too hard. I have a 20-pound resistance band. You don't need to go heavy because it's a very small muscle. So right here, I'm going to rotate out. Remember, push that elbow forward and you're going to feel this posterior delt lock out. Rotate. I like to roll the handle in my wrist. That allows me to kind of push the elbow forward and blast that. I'll show you. You can see the rear delt back here. It's taking a beating. Now I'll let my shoulders go. And now you see my upper traps get involved. Now you don't. Isolation at its finest. Why should you do external rotation? Now I don't care if you go this way or this way, but why should you do it? Well, there's four kind of muscles that protect your rotator cuff. They're called the supraspinatus, the infraspinatus, the teres major, and the subscapularis. All of those kind of keep that shoulder strong, right? Well, guess what? How many of us are behind computers, driving, sleeping in our shoulder, text messaging? We're creating postural issues, right? That's causing tight pec major and minor. That's putting a lot of emphasis on the infraspinatus and supraspinatus in the back of the shoulder. We want, which is a ball and socket joint, it's a very complex joint. We want to keep those shoulders back so that humerus can glide freely when we're doing presses and military presses and stuff. So honestly, if you don't have great experience with something as far as a rear dumbbell fly, reverse fly, and you do not know how to activate the rear delt, please go to the bands. Put your ego aside. If you have any questions, please send us some questions. I would love to help you out on this video. I probably see 99% of people doing this exercise incorrectly. I want you to get a band you feel comfortable, really light. Don't do a 40 or 50. 10, 20 is all you need. Rotate, push that elbow forward, lean into that left leg, big chest, shoulders down and back. That is as far as I can rotate. Now, if I let my scapula go, look, I can keep going, but now I feel my mid-back. Elbow forward, that's it, rear delt pops out. That's gonna get that shoulder really strong, not get the upper traps, give you a big, full three-dimensional shoulder, and most importantly, healthy shoulders, right? No one wants to work out through pain. Trust me, we all wanna look great, but we don't wanna compromise joint pain or an injury to get there. So make sure you take the time to obviously get warm before you do these, but don't forget to make sure you know how to work those little tiny posterior muscles like the rear delt, and obviously isolating the medial head of the delt like we did correctly today. Please, if you have any questions on this, we went through front delt, we went through lateral raise to hit the medial cap in the delt, and then we went through external rotation, bottom beginner stuff that if you don't do right, you will obviously lead to an injury trying to do free weights. I can't tell you how many times I see people in the gym working their shoulders. All they're doing is shrugging, elevating. If that's the case, and you're just gonna shrug and do a reverse fly, yes, you're gonna get your rear delt, but you just might as well go shrug the weight. Your neck is gonna be on fire. You're gonna have big dominant traps. Your shoulders are not gonna be healthy and strong. I'm Coach Garett here, SixPack Abs. We have a great group of trainers, coaches that can put together these special tips and nuances to help you develop a program to build maybe those shoulders, or maybe rehab an injury you had, or maybe you have bad posture and you can't really progress without a proper mobility and tiny little strength training program with just bands before you even touch the free weights. Please feel free, leave us a comment. I would love to know how this goes to help you improve healthier, rounded, juicier shoulders. Stay blessed, eat clean, train hard. Signing out.